What's raging, gamers? Good morning and welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh man, I am Louis Vuitton top for Gucci. I'm ready to talk about a lot of
What I
gaming
like
news,
to
man.
hear.
Hey, always, brother. When I'm with you, man. Oh man, this whole 30 minutes it goes too fast, but we got a lot
Oh,
to
for
discuss
real,
today,
for real.
right? I mean, there's so many cool, exciting things that are happening in the world of video games, and I know there's a lot of hype for a game that a lot of people say could be the new edge or competition for Call of Duty franchise, and that is Ubisoft's they're in the beta launch with it, but there's a game called X Defiant. If you haven't seen it, here's your first look. Kind of reminds me of like what Black Ops 3. What's your thoughts, HenricK?
Yeah, it's very similar to the older Call of Duties like Modern Warfare 1, 2, Black Ops. Uh Actually one of my friends posted a clip similar to this one and had a great comment on it, and it was he said the kids long for Doom and Quake. Because if you look at all the clips from this game, like they're just doing such crazy movement tech, slide canceling and everything. It's like you
I
could just
heard
have a game like Doom or Quake that has movement tech like that built in.
that's true, and I did hear there was some rumors that like they're trying to penalize certain gamers on the PC for doing the jump and the and the slide cancel, all that kind of heebie-jeebie nonsense. But I know the comments were very lively and active. One of them was fun. Maps are very good. Gunplay is enjoyable. Definitely a lot of work to do after beta, though. Netcode and balancing powers and abilities, especially. Lots of potential. Not a COD killer, but it'll be good to have it in the F2P FPS ecosystem. There's also another comment that said, no, COD is at the Madden 2K level. Do you agree with that, HenricK?
I mean, it's definitely one of those games when it comes out, it makes money. Like, regardless of whether the game is good or not, people are going to buy it because of the name. And that's it. That's just how it is with Madden as well. And then 2K also. Like, the game comes out every year and then uh, people buy it somehow, even though it's maybe the same game.
I mean, that's a good point. I know one comment was, I mean, there's so much hype around these games, and I don't think it will succeed. Look at Splitgate. Do they have a point?
I mean, Splitgate was really fun. I enjoyed that game, but unfortunately, yeah, it is hard for a lot of these new IPs to get a grounding and a following that actually will one pay for them to stay afloat, and then also just hype up the game enough so that more and more people come to the game. I
I
don't
think
know if
that's
this
a
one will stick around, honestly.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I think that's a good point because I know tweens have been the topic of conversation because we're going to be talking about it. There's a brand new survey report that we'll be discussing in our patch notes segment, but I have an idea why it's not sticking around because just look at the tweens that we got today.
You got that right.
I mean, that
Man,
is totally insane. I mean, get this kid outside. Does he have a
get him to
problem?
touch some grass.
I mean, ADHD could be kind of like a powerful tool. I don't know about you, HenricK, but like, most PC gamers know what I'm talking about when you open up your internet browser and you got multiple tabs open. Okay. So like that is very real. Don't blame him, blame the parents. I think it does start with
Yeah.
the parents. And then lastly, dang, we have so much input into our minds that it's harder for us to retain attention for longer than it took for you to read this comment.
No, it's true.
Very,
Attention
very
spans are
funny.
going down. Like, so many people are in that situation as that kid. Like, I want to put on a show while I do this, while I read a book. It's like, focus on one thing. You're not getting
One thing
a
at a
good
time.
experience out of everything.
Oh, easily. And then also Minnesota Timberwolves Mike Conley, after winning the play-in tournament over the weekend, spoke to the media after the game, leaving this golden gem of a moment. I'm going to show you guys because it is quite hysterical. I think a lot of gamers can relate to this.
do, and guys who've won championships, like that's the kind of attention to detail you got to have. You can't just go home and play video games. Like this is the time to do a little extra work. What's good?
He said not to do that. Watch some film first.
The playoff veteran Mike Conley, after the win tonight, that sent.
So I'm imagining, HenricK, this is what you looked like when your parents took your console away from you for not doing your homework.
Kind of, yeah. It's just, sulk in my room, play with my Legos, do something, but, want to be on the computer or the console or something.
Oh, absolutely. But this is hilarious. Look at this tweet. It's from an old lady named Sally, and she said they came to an agreement. Cat, don't allow Mike to touch the Popeyes, and Mike, don't allow Cat to game. And then lastly, Kobe not even going home. He takes a shower and heads right back into the practice gym. Dude, I hate when people bring up the Kobe analogy. We all need a break, even the most athletic players. But hey, we got a great show for everybody, so stick around as we got more left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. Let's get it, fam.
Let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Octopath Traveller 2. If you're familiar with turn-based role-playing games, then this game might seem really familiar to you. It's a game in the same genre as the old Final Fantasy games, with a modern coat of paint on it and a unique story. As such, the visual experience is what the fans of 16-bit games thought they were seeing when those games were brand new. But visuals aren't everything, and while the visuals of the game are charming, the focus is clearly on other things. So the gameplay should be fun, right? The gameplay of Octopath Traveller 2 is about the same as the first. You're on a role-playing fantasy adventure with turn-based combat encounters. The characters in your party will have specialized roles that will either be designed around damage dealing or support such as healing. The roles are typical for the genre, which is in turn taking inspiration from Dungeons & Dragons. Octopath Traveller 2 also has a combat mechanic of finding an enemy's specific weakness to exploit in combat, alongside breaking enemy shields to make them vulnerable to further damage. Unfortunately, you'll have to expect spending some time leveling up characters to keep up with areas of the game. Outside of combat, you'll be traveling through areas and dungeons with puzzles and quests that will need to be done in order to progress the story. Speaking of the story, let's talk about that. The story of Octopath Traveller 2, as the name suggests, has 8 different storylines. While it is a sequel, the game takes a Final Fantasy approach in not requiring you to have played the previous game since the stories are self-contained. Each of the characters give you a different perspective of an ultimately converging storyline. The stories follow characters ranging from a noble warrior to a thief. All in all, the game is about 70 to 80 hours long, and that is mostly the main storyline. So you can expect to be spending quite some time playing the game. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
So this game has, I think, such a charming and such a great visual representation to it. I love the style. It's so reminiscent of the old retro JRPGs. And, I grew up on those. I grew up on the Final Fantasies. I grew up with, Golden Sun on the GBA, which was another great JRPG. Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger. There's so many out there. And this pays homage to so many of them in such a great way. But I really think that, unfortunately, there's just some things about it that probably won't really jive very well with the modern audiences. Like we were talking about that kid who's like scrolling on TikTok and, playing a game at the same time.
Those graphics are outdated.
It's not gonna, well, not only the graphics, it's just like the fact that you have to spend so much time doing certain things in the game. I don't think people are going to be really excited. Me personally, this is a repeat. 100%.
Really? Wow.
100% for me, this is a repeat. But
yeah.
I understand it's not for everyone. But
Yeah,
I'm curious, what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not for everyone, and it's not for me. I'm definitely gonna pause it. I'm not gonna play it twice. I mean, I think what's really cool about the game is it has zero connections with the previous games. They did make a prequel on the mobile game, and then obviously on the PC as well. There is a great fusion between pixel art and 3D graphics, but I think longer the days of Pokemon Yellow. I think we're over these style of graphics. May work out on the mobile phone, but not necessarily for me. And I think it's really cool that there's 8 new characters and stories. But doesn't this feel a bit like Fallout 2, HenricK? I mean, yeah, you get to get the skills to steal, uncover secrets, do these things, but like, come on,
I mean,
man.
I would make the argument that, sometimes a bit of the old school is a necessity and also is a good time, You can go back to some
Yeah,
of those older games and still have a good time, right? So,
yeah, I think
like,
that's a good point. And I
why
guess,
try
yeah, no,
why not try it again?
no, I think that's a good point. And I guess the only thing that I will say about this game is it is refreshing to know that there is a new game out there that's not a remake or a remaster, because the whole first 4 months of 2023 has been dominated by old games. So if you want something new, something refreshing, this game might be for you. But HenricK, I'm going to say pause.
I mean, fair enough, like I said, but I still think you're wrong, honestly.
Hey, well, we want to know from you, gamers. Let us know what's good. But we want to let you guys know, stick around as we got more left here on the Chris College Show. Oh, well, Chris College Show. What are you doing, Chris? Wrong show. Rage Quit Video
Wrong
Games Talk Show.
show, wrong show.
What a novice. Oh, my gosh. That is so embarrassing. Let's get it, fam. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. We want to hear from you. Stay lively, stay active, because if you do comment, your voice will be heard on this show. So let me set the tone. Video games have evolved from being considered a form of entertainment for children to being an industry that is consumed the most by the millennial generation. A study titled Inside Gaming from Fandom showed that millennials spend more of their free time playing video games than Gen Z and teenagers. And just look at this. How insane is that? 4 times more people that live in Spain. Like, that's insane to think that there's that many gamers right now, and it's only going to continue to grow. HenricK, when you look at this, 86% are influenced to purchase a brand or product that invest in the gaming space. This sounds like the tweens and the teens. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. This is crazy to me because I always think about, like when I was growing up, I had no responsibilities. I could play games as much as I wanted, barring having to do homework and things like that, obviously, or not doing it and just playing the games. But I feel like I don't know about you, but I feel like I have a lot less time to actually play games and actually enjoy sitting down and playing games for a long period of time.
But it's kind of crazy because, they're saying, millennials are able to at least play 8 to 15 hours per week. What is usually your time? I play a lot of video games. I love playing video games. I know, like, my parents always tease with me. It's like, hey, Chris, maybe it might be okay, to step away from the console. I said, hey, listen, this is no different than you on Netflix binge watching. So if this is my form of entertainment, leave me the hell alone. And then also PC, console, and mobile gaming have seen increases. Really what they're finding out is millennials are 25% likely to rank PC as their primary gaming platform. Isn't this a no shit moment, HenricK? I mean, like, come on. Are you really going to give your preteen or tweens and teens a $3,000 PC console?
No, exactly. Like, especially when you do get older. I mean, at least in theory, you actually make money and, a better amount of money than you would when you're in high school. So obviously, you can at least afford these games and these game consoles and PCs that will actually run these games. So obviously, if it's something you want to actually invest in, you'll have the money to do so. So I mean, yeah, like you said, it's a no shit moment. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
it's literally a no shit. And then you see here, younger players are influenced by social media influencers and hype. Older players dive into characters, development, and storyline. I think this is very real. I mean, I think with sandbox games, sandbox are games like Fortnite, Creative 2.0, Roblox, anything where you can kind of have this fun social interaction. So, with that being said, what do you think about this, HenricK?
I mean, you could definitely see this with like the audience on Twitch, for example. Like a lot of the people who are actually, developing fan bases, their fan bases are pretty young, actually. I don't think that there's a whole lot of, like at least in comparison, of older generations that are actually on Twitch watching people play games. They probably want to just play the games themselves, or like you said in the study, it says they're just out there playing games that have rich storylines and they want to
Or
experience it for themselves.
or to kind of throw a curveball, uh, what if it's because the millennial parents don't want to pay for $70 games for their tweens, so they say you got to play the free to play game, and that's why Sandbox is so popular.
No, that would be fair. I think that's a fair point 100% because, I'm not a parent myself, but from a parent perspective, why would I pay for a game when my kid wants to play this game that's free in the first place?
Exactly. So, I mean, these are always so cool, always super fascinating to explore this world. But I know, HenricK, there's a lot of upset Xbox gamers. Let us know what's good or
Yeah,
bad.
so that game Redfall, I'm sure you've seen some of the hype for it in the recent months, building up to the release. That game is apparently on the Xbox only going to be capped at 30 frames per second. And I think that's crazy because that means that the only way to really experience the game the way that it was intended is going to be on PC. And that's not how it should be, considering Xbox said, oh, this is the most powerful console in the world. We should, buying this on top of everything else. But it's a first person shooter, like 30 frames per second is unacceptable for that sort of genre, I think.
Oh yeah,
Personally, at
absolutely.
least.
And for anybody who doesn't know what the gameplay looks like for Redfall, we got a teaser clip for you right now.
Incoming! I got you. Okay, everybody, time for round 2.
I guess my question to you though, HenricK, is will it make a fun game boring that it's 30 frames per second? I mean,
I
you got
mean,
one person that's saying these companies really need to learn from the games like Battlefield 2042. Stop rushing games that are unfinished. Does he have a point?
no, he does have a point, and I 100% agree. Like, they need to stop just releasing these games on a schedule that makes it so that the game releases unfinished. Like, finish the game, because now what's going to happen with this game is it's on Game Pass, so people aren't really even going to buy it in the first place if they have Game Pass. And second, if people see that the game is not enjoyable to play, who's going to buy the game and then fund the actual developers to fix the game in the first place? And then if they
Gosh,
ever do, like, who's going to come back and play the game?
oh yeah, absolutely. It's so true. And I know one guy wrote 2023 and 60 frames per second is not standard out of the box still. How is this an acceptable standard still? Laughing out loud. I think he's got a great point, and there was a lot of hilarious memes. Can't even run 60 frames per second. Oh, my Lanta, that is pretty brutal. And HenricK, you sent me this one. This was funny. World's most powerful console cannot handle 60 frames per second in a first person game. And I know there has been a game that's been celebrated for actually delaying their game until next year. What is that game, HenricK?
That game would be the Suicide Squad Kill
That's
the
right.
Justice League game. I still think that there's other problems that they probably are not going to be able to fix, but that's my personal opinion on that one. But hey, I can applaud them for saying, okay, we're taking the feedback. Let's delay the game until it's in a better state than it was.
Yeah, and there seems like there's people that agree with you. I would rather it delayed than an unfinished game get released. We also had what good. We expect more from them than the disappointment they showed us. So I do think there's a balance between what HenricK's saying, but also praising the effort to delay it, correct?
Correct, yes. Like, a game that's not finished should not be released,
But there was
even
also
though you
another
can
great
patch it
point.
later.
You see this comment right here, though, HenricK? He goes, we first saw the teaser trailer 2 years ago. It's still not out. And there's another year of it. Very wild. But then again, do we just give us the game complete? All right. I mean, or just make the game $40. That's it. We don't need to keep it to the same standard of $70 every single time. But
I
hey,
mean, if it's
guys,
not finished, why would you pay full price, right?
absolutely. But we don't know that, though. We find that out on the day of the launch, which is always so stupid and shitty. So, hey, we got
Yeah.
to start fighting back against these developers. Just protest by not purchasing anything. Okay, please? Okay. I think we're
Use
good on
your
this topic.
wallet to be your voice.
Yes, we are the consumers after all. They work for us, not the other way around.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, hey, we wanted to talk about this other fun one. You might be wondering, why the hell is HenricK and I bringing up NASA? Well, NASA has finally unveiled its 3D printed simulated Mars habitat. But trust us, it's no theme park. Housed in a massive warehouse at the NASA Johnson Space Center in Houston, will soon host 4 volunteers to be test subjects. I don't know if this is for you. It might be. Hey, but we're going to give you an inside look. So yeah, it's pretty wild, but you guys might be wondering, like, what does it have to do with video games, right? And the reason why HenricK and I were so intrigued over this story was, it seems like they're setting up these 4 volunteers to fail. We're gonna show you a picture of this. Gosh, I know the photos that they gave to the public are extremely blurry. Our apologies, but at the TV console, they got a PlayStation 4 Slim and a NES Mini console. And with that move, doesn't it seem like they're clearly trying to get these volunteers to do everything but not work together?
No, 100%. Like, they didn't even give him a PS5 like any of the other modern consoles. Like, come on, guys. You're
Maybe they
NASA.
thought
You have money.
maybe they thought that this was a better move than the Xbox, since it can't run 60
I
frames
mean,
per
if it's
second.
gonna have a game like Redfall on it, maybe yeah, that is the right move.
Oh man, it's so crazy. And I know there was one person that wrote, we can't even get through a Walmart or Subway without going crazy on each other. Yeah, but Alone on Mars will work. There's another comment that said, haven't we already tried this and seen the outcome? Yeah, man. If there was one game that you would bring up to Mars, there's only one game, HenricK. What would you bring with you?
Probably some really long immersive RPG like The Witcher 3 or something. I feel like you could play that game for a like very long time, and if you spread it out a little bit, you won't finish it right away.
Yeah,
That's what I would
absolutely.
do.
I think I'm on the same road as you. We're traveling the same path. I'm gonna go with Skyrim, the deluxe edition. Okay, you can always play that game. That's always a repeat in my books. I don't care what anybody says a decade
With
later. I just
mods?
no, well, we won't be able to have the mods. I won't have an internet connection probably, unless
Oh, fair enough. Fair
unless
enough.
they hook me up, hook a brother up. But hey, you guys heard from us. We want to know from you. If you're going to Mars, what game are you bringing with you? HenricK, what's going on? Are game keys safe?
Oh yeah, so we wanted to kind of talk about this a little bit, just briefly. So as games become more digitally accessed and not so much, let me go to the store and buy a physical copy. A thing that comes up as a conversation is, what about game keys? How could I buy those and trust the source that I'm going to? I think this is a interesting thing from my perspective compared to yours, Chris, because I'm more the PC gamer, and I think on PC, game keys are a lot more of a thing compared to console. I personally, for example, I subscribe to Humble Bundle, and every month I get a selection of games and their game keys itself that I redeem on Steam. But that is a reliable source, you know. I've
Yeah, but like,
I'll be honest,
how does
I've
that
had
work
some
though?
places that haven't had the best experience because, they've been unreliable. I've had a couple of times where I'm like, I'm gonna buy this game, and I end up not actually buying it because the game key's invalid.
Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, why would anybody transition into the future for game keys when the potential cloud gaming is going to be right there in front of our smart TVs real soon? Considering what you just said, there's the potential of cyber scam. You might be getting identity fraud. Maybe you might see a tweet online that says, "Hey, submit to me, and I'll give you a game key," and you put it in, and God knows what happens to your $3,000 PC device. But you're saying you're still okay with this and you believe it's safe?
I mean, you just have to, go to places you trust. I trust Humble Bundle to give me a good game key. The places I've had bad experiences, they were kind of like on the borderline of gray market sites where it's like you get a great deal on, game like maybe Call of Duty that never goes on sale.
Right.
But you run the risk of, hey, maybe these game keys were bought illegitimately with stolen credit cards and that's why they're on sale, or
But I guess
maybe,
my thing is, it's like, does it feel like it's going to become outdated? Because I know that there was a massive news when it comes to Netflix gaming, where, I think cloud gaming is really going to become the new next generation of console gaming.
no, 100%. It's all about convenience. And, cloud gaming is the most convenient for most people because you don't even have to buy a console. You can just, load up an app on your phone, your TV, anything that has the app. And there you go. You have access to a huge library of games. And that's actually exactly why Steam is so successful as well.
Yeah.
It's a cloud gaming provider, but because it's so accessible and it
Mhm.
so many great deals on games so often. So it's a giant in that space, because it's convenient.
Yeah, and absolutely. And since I referenced, the whole Netflix gaming, that was the major announcement this week from Bungie to Microsoft to Netflix games. Joseph Staten, one of the original architects of Halo, who came in late to try to revive the Halo Infinity, which has just been a complete nightmare. It's not all on him, but he has announced this week that he is officially the creative director of Netflix gaming. That is so freaking cool. I know that he went up there and he announced it online. He said, "In my work life, there's nothing I love more than collaborating with others to build worlds filled with iconic characters, deep mysteries, and endless adventures." So today, I'm thrilled to announce that I've joined Netflix Games as creative director for a brand new AAA multi-platform game and original IP. Let's go! So I think that is
Let's do
really, really
it.
excited. So we'll obviously be following it. It's gonna games don't just pop up within a year. It's gonna take,
Yeah.
3 or 4 years down the line. But guys, this is incredible since the days of the pixelated Stranger Things, adapted Netflix game to now this. Wowee.
And Joseph Staten, he's a great creative director. Like he's been a Halo OG since like the Bungie days. So he's been around.
Yeah, he knows what's good. So true, man. But man, wasn't this such a kick-ass show? We can't thank you, the gamers, for tuning in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And guys, don't forget to hit the like or subscribe button so you never miss a live show. And HenricK the Wreck, where can they check out your content?
So if you go to chriscollinsshow.com, there's a web page there specifically just for me and my content. But I do post on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, as well as on YouTube. So you can find me on all those places.
Hey, lots of great content. And I want to let you guys know I do a music podcast called Off the Fret, more music talk, featuring Nashville country star Amanda Cooksey, out now wherever you listen to podcasts. and on my YouTube channel. Also, check out my live show, The Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show, every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you follow us on social media, you will know who our guest is this week. But for now, we will see you next Tuesday. Enjoy the week, fam. Peace.
Go Rage!
Let's get it, baby.